All right, welcome to Smokey Reacts. I'm your boy journalist, and on this one, I kind of just wanted to check out this documentary thing I found. It's about the streets. If you watch my channel, you know that there's that has it come to this record, and it's kind of big in my like initial journey of like really getting into UK music and like trying to figure out how he does what he does on that record, like artist to artist. So then I seen this, and I was just like, I still don't know how he's doing it. So I need to watch this to figure out. So that's what we're doing here today. Thank you guys very much for joining me. If you could, please hit that like, subscribe, Patreon's in the description, and let's get into this. Yeah.
Why do you think that the album had such that kind of wide appeal, so that you get, I don't know, people you might not expect buying it, and then the kind of people in the UK garage scene and then indie stations like XFN would play it a lot. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, I think indie heads listen to lyrics and songs, and in the streets there's a lot of lyrics and there's a lot of songs.
That's what makes it different. That's what makes it.
And I think hip hop heads like it because the beat's not so bad, and it's quite deep. There's a lot in there. There's a lot of it talks about a lot of different things. So I think someone who's not into hip hop or garage can like it because it has got that depth. But at the same time,
when I first heard it, it was like
he was crying when he first heard it.
I was crying.
He phoned me up.
I couldn't
Mike,
stop
I've heard
crying.
the album, man.
Emotional.
It's just British. I think that's why a lot of people like it, and why it's done so well is because it sounds British. There's not a lot of other artists are trying to copy other people and trying to come from other people's points of views, but he seems to just find his own niche. So
that's right.
He's just doing his thing. Really. That's how I see it.
At the turn of the millennium, the contours of the UK music scene were changing. The catchy hooks and guitar riffs of Britpop were waning, and in its place UK club culture was on the rise. UK garage was born out of this scene, characterised by its rhythmic and complex drum patterns, warped bass lines and chopped up pitch-shifted vocal samples. This new sound seemed to say something about a new Britain. Here was a nation with its eyes firmly on the horizon of the next century. Spurred on by offshore pirate radio stations like Rinse FM and Flex FM, UK garage was slowly gathering pace, tumbling.
Wait, I know pirate radio comes from like folks pirating in the radio while they on boats, like real pirates. But Rinse FM was like a ocean-based radio station first, not one of the ones that was just stealing radio signal with an aerial in the city. Like, what's the situation on that?
Out of the margins of the underground and into the mainstream. There were early chart hits like Shanks and Bigfoot's Sweet Like Chocolate.
Sweet like chocolate, boy. Sweet like chocolate. You bring me so much joy. You're sweet like chocolate, boy.
Or DJ Luck and MC Neats with a little bit of luck.
Chum. Absolute chum.
With a little bit of luck, come make it through the night. With a little bit of luck, come make it through the night. With a little bit of luck, come make it through the night.
These were definitive UK garage tunes, energetic breakbeats with a distinctive club feel, but also inscribed with a catchiness that meant weekend hedonists and school kids alike both knew their hooks. However, it was perhaps in 2001 when the multitudinous So Solid crew landed a number one chart hit with their track 21 Seconds to Go and appeared on top of the pops that UK garage truly became a mainstream concern.
I got 21 seconds to go. Cause if you let me know, let me in the studio. I got 20.
Yo, that nigga hold it
21 seconds
right now.
before I got to go. Did you see me on the video? Oh no. Did you see me on the video? Oh no. So if you let me know, let me in the studio. I got 21 seconds before I got to go. Did you see me on the video? Oh no. Did you see me on the video? Oh no. So if you let me know, let me in the studio. I got 21 seconds before I got to go.
By 2000,
Alright, but look, we got to discuss that song real quick. Y'all niggas let them get away with motherfucking murder on that song. This nigga said 11 plus 10, that's 21. This nigga just did basic math in a record. And niggas was just like, oh, that's hard. Don't get me wrong, it kind of is. But just like, Jesus Christ, the nigga just did basic math.
2003, the 19-year-old East Londoner Dizzy Rascal had won the prestigious Mercury Prize, beating out the likes of Radiohead, The Darkness and Coldplay. It seemed to signal a sea change in music, an embrace of new multicultural talent that mirrored the progressive political and social changes of the time. Guitar-led posturing was out, and in its place was a new, slinky electronic sound, where looking the part was every bit as important as sounding good. Out of this crucible emerged Mike Skinner, a young lad, or perhaps geezer, who was brought up and raised in both Birmingham and London, the UK's two biggest cities. The sounds of the city, both its tension and its release, were therefore etched into Skinner at an early age. As a child, Skinner experimented with music, tinkering with his father's piano, but he soon discovered hip-hop and rap in his teenage years, and shifted his focus to working with makeshift music-making software to reproduce the sounds of his favourite rap records. Skinner was influenced by the nascent UK garage and speed garage scene, but he was also beholden to his beloved US hip-hop records, in particular the Beastie Boys, Nas, A Tribe Called Quest, and De La Soul loomed large for Skinner, but it was the New York-based Wu-Tang Clan that particularly excited him.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
Socrates' philosophies that I brought to sleep. Can't define how we sharpen these mockeries. Lyrically perform all robbery. Flee with the lottery. Possibly they spotted me. Battle scar, shogun. Explosion with my business. Tremendous. Ultraviolet sound, blind forensics.
On his 2002 debut album, Original Pirate Material, Skinner would weave the storytelling prowess of his favourite US hip-hop artists into his homemade beats, together with the homegrown flavour of UK garage. On this record, Skinner would rap about nights out in ecstasy-laced clubs, students getting high whilst playing PlayStation, and late-night bus-stops in kebab shops.
Out the club about 3 to the takeaway. Shit in a train.
Yo, this one, when I listened to this album for the first time, I was just like, Jesus Christ, this is an absolute tune. But it's like such a poignant, like, look at a culture and like a place where a person comes from. But then also just like being an older man, I was just like, this nigga just made a record explaining exactly why niggas just be out on the night beating niggas up. Because like niggas got to get into some shit. Niggas got to get into some shit for some reason. So geezers need excitement. Such a tune. The first time I heard it, I was like, this nigga's different.
Merchants, shops got a special perchant for the disorderly. Geezers looking ordinary and a few looking leery. Ships fly round to the sound of the latest chart entry. An incendiary, waiting to blast. No arm with a contest, who can throw the furthest? Behind the counter they look nervous, but carry on cutting the finest cuts of chicken from the big spinning stick. Then overflies.
In his songs, Skinner would conjure up collages of British everyday life, and in his own way he was creating, or at least mainstreaming, a distinct style of British rap, keeping the local accent and language, and regaling the listener with realist, self-deprecating tales from Skinner's own life. Here he is explaining his unique sound and delivery.
When I wrote, like for instance, Has It Come to This, which was the first song, people used to say, who wants to hear about us? You know. It sounds shocking now. I think where I was lucky, I gambled a lot on the chance that people did want to hear about young sort of suburban people. And looking back on it, it is obvious. I mean, it sounds like a stupid thing to say, why would we want to hear about ourselves? But that was really, rap was quite other.
On its release, Original Pirate Material received a rapturous response from the critics. Broadsheets likened Skinner to filmmakers like Ken Loach and Mike Leigh, kitchen sink realist directors who were seen to tell stories of normal people in their films, often struggling against the backdrop of a changing and sometimes uncaring Britain. After his tour promoting Original Pirate Material ended, pressure mounted on Skinner to deliver his second record. No one could anticipate what he would do next. By 2003, Mike Skinner had acquired his own flat in Stockwell, in South London, with the earnings from the massive sales of his first album. Like his first record, this follow-up would be recorded entirely at home in this flat. Skinner was conscious that the lifestyle he was living now, with the trappings of success his first album had delivered at his feet, was vastly different to the life he was living prior to success, and his insistence on a DIY recording setup perhaps was a way for Skinner to feel grounded still. Skinner also felt it was difficult to deliver a repeat of his first album because his life had changed so much. He couldn't pretend to rap about a lifestyle he was no longer living.
See, that's the thing about like being a musician, or just like when I find new artists or people tend to like want to support somebody on their come up. We find those people, if we really like them, on their way up. They're not as buttoned up as they will be when they have more money, more time to really focus on their creativity, and the lack of the hunger of wanting the attention or to be heard has kind of waned a little bit because they've got a major win after that first album. But like, I find in music, I used to just section it off to like rap and hip hop, that we didn't like maturity or growth. But I find in music that your casual listener of music does not have allowance for growth and maturity. When you come to a casual listener of music's like forefront or like view, you kind of have to stay doing exactly what you were doing the whole time, because they're not going to really care about anything else besides why they like the one thing from you. But the artists that I at least have the most respect for, or wish other artists were given that ability, is to mature and to have the ability to kind of just like, nigga, I'm rich now. I'm not poor no more. Like, the music is gonna be different, but like, if you make good shit, it's still gonna be good regardless if you're rich or not. That's why I'm just like, it sucks, because people always expect somebody to kind of like double down and come back and give me the same album. But if I wanted the same album, nigga, I go listen to the first one. Nigga, can you make something better than the last one? I don't give a fuck if you're talking about the same shit or not, but can it be better is my thing always.
Instead, Skinner decided to tell a story on his next record, a grand tale that would trace the arc of one character from the first track to the final track. He began to devour books on screenwriting for movies, and then worked his way through even more on the craft of songwriting. Alongside this, Skinner listened to songs from the Great American Songbook, especially in the country and western genre, taking them apart and building them back up to see how they worked. He was a big fan in particular of the modern classic By the Time I Get to Phoenix, a song originally by Jimmy Webb, but that has been covered endlessly since.
By the time I get to Phoenix, she'll be rising. She'll find the note that I left hanging on her door.
As Skinner tells it, the reason I decided to write A Grand Don't Come For Free as episodes from a single unfolding narrative was because I'd got so into my songwriting manuals and books by Hollywood screenwriting gurus, and I wanted to try and put what I'd learnt from them in practice. Every song needs a drama at the centre of it, and once you have the drama, the song writes itself. What emerged was a collection of 11 tracks bound tightly together by a simple story of a man, perhaps a semi-autobiographical version of Skinner, who one day misplaces £1,000. The album tells the story of his quest to find out what happened to the money, and in doing so he meets a girl who he falls in love with, moves into her flat, loses the same girl, and then gets kicked out of her flat, and then finds himself alone again. Skinner said, "I kind of think the concept happened whilst I was recording it. I've always wanted each song to say something specific, but I also like it when songs refer to other tracks talking to one another, you know? Then it ended up as this bloody concept album." The story of the album is simple, but the beauty in the album lies in the specificity with which Skinner writes. It's the peppering of detail to evoke the sense of distinctly British environment, such as the mentioning of high street retail outlet JD Sports in Could Well Be In.
Cause the last relationship fucked her up. Got hurt majorly, finds it tough to trust. Looked at the ashtray, then looked back up, spinning it away on the tabletop. She looked much fitter than Saturday Joss. She worked in JD's with Dan. Back then I figured she was pretty damn rough, but she was only wearing her work stuff.
Or it's in the quietly funny but relatable way that Skinner talks.
I've not heard that album yet, but listening to that, just those, like 4 bars of whatever that album has on it, hearing that makes me think that the only comparable US MC I would think to compare Mike Skinner's flow to would have to be like MF Doom, where he's just trying to really be teched out. Because the way that he has inter-rhymes and partial lines or rhymes are why I'm just like, why is this nigga style so like flexy? Like, I don't understand it, because it's not like, it's almost 1, 2, 3, 4, or A B A B A B A B, or like it's almost like that. But then he just starts rhyming shit, like especially that she works in JD with Dan, and then like the next line in the middle of it, damn and Dan are the rhyme, but then like the punch of that last line isn't even the rhyme we're going with. Like we've moved on from it. It's really crazy. Like his style is so tacked out to my brain that I just be like, how blood? Like I still can't understand.
Talks about the horrible stomach lurch feeling of thinking you've lost your phone, only to find it again quickly in album opener. It was supposed to be so easy.
Where's my phone? Have I got it? Oh, this is a crock of shit. I lost the fucking thing. Oh, here it is in my pocket. But the battery's nearly flat. Got a call, quick snap. Ah, shit. The battery is flat. Today I have...
In one of the biggest tracks on the album, Blinded by the Lights, Skinner evokes the drug-induced paranoia of a night out gone wrong, as he suspects his new girlfriend of cheating on him over the sound of a trippy electronic beat.
Everything in the room spinning. I think I'm gonna fall down. My heart's beating too quick. I'm fucking tripping out. I wonder whether they got in. Turned away, no doubt. Who cares? This is a tune coming in. That one noise is like, I'm thinking.
Lights are blinding my eyes.
My eyes are rolling back. I'm rubbing my thighs with my hand. And I'm thinking.
People pushing by, then walking off into the night.
Elsewhere on the album, Skinner would perfectly capture the laddish lariness.
Who's that? Who's the bird? Did he put what's it called? What's the shortest name that's singing this?
Elsewhere on the album, Skinner would perfectly capture the laddish lariness of a Club 18 to 30 holiday on the track Fit But You Know It, as he drunkenly jostles for attention from women he meets on a boys' holiday abroad.
Yeah, like I said, you are really fit. But my gosh, don't you just know it?
I'm not trying to pull you, even though I would like
I've heard this one before.
I think you are really fit. You're fit, but my gosh, don't you know it?
And then on Dry Your Eyes, the song that gave the Streets their biggest hit and made them a household name, Skinner recounts a breakup with his girlfriend.
Cause I can't imagine my life without you and me. There's things I can't imagine doing, things I can't imagine seeing. It weren't supposed to be easy, surely. Please, I'm begging, please.
When Skinner was recording the song, he originally brought in Chris Martin, the lead singer of Coldplay, to sing on the chorus of Dry Your Eyes.
Dry your eyes, mate. I know it's hard to take, but her mind has been made up. There's plenty more fish in the sea. Dry your eyes, mate. I know you want to let her see how much this pain hurts.
Chris Martin brings a poppy sensibility to the track, but in the end Skinner decided to pass on the take and instead record a different version without Martin. It's not entirely clear why this was the case, but there's no doubt that the version that made it onto the album feels more authentic, as if your mate in the pub, rather than the multi-millionaire pop star, is giving you advice, putting a comforting hand on your shoulder. And then on the final track, Empty Cans, Skinner comes to eventually discover what happened to his £1,000 that he lost in the first track of the album. It serves as a perfect closer, bringing this sorry, quotidian story to its end, as well as serving as a lesson on the rewards of changing your perspective in life.
Or maybe it's that I realise that it is true. No one's really there fighting for you in the last garrison. No one except yourself, that is. No one except you. You are the one who's got your back to the last deed's done.
The album was released in May 2004, and by the end of the year, the record had surpassed sales of 1 million copies. The singles Fit But You Know It and Dry Your Eyes made the album and the streets ubiquitous. The former track alone has soundtracked many lads' holidays and indie discos since. And the reception from the press was as effusive in its response to A Grand Don't Come For Free as it was for original pirate material. Critics heralded Skinner as the everyman's Chaucer, the famous bard who penned the Canterbury Tales, and the 21st century Alan Bennett, who chronicled the neuroses of modern Britain and its strange social rules in his plays and books. Perhaps though Skinner belongs to the same musical lineage as other great British songwriters, the likes of the Smiths, the Kinks and Blur, all bands which tapped into the bloodstream of the nation and reflected their own version of the UK through their music. With A Grand Don't Come For Free, Skinner also carved out, alongside his compatriots, a place in music for British artists rapping and speaking in their own accent, no longer mimicking American artists by adopting fake New York speech patterns. We can still see that influence today in acts like Sleaford Mods, Black Country New Road and Dry Cleaning. Moreover, the record revealed Mike Skinner's talents as an observer of the modern urban environment and his ability to distill these observations into insightful, sardonic and razor-sharp lyrics to be rapped over homemade beats that had one foot in the camp of UK garage and its other in US East Coast hip-hop. In short, there was nothing quite like it before, and nothing quite like it since. What do you think of this album? Do you think it is the streets at their best? And what do you think of albums they've released subsequently? Let me know what you think by liking this video and commenting below. And please subscribe for more videos on albums in the future. Thanks for watching.
Alright, so first off, before I say my last little bit, shout out to the title track. This is well put together. It's a very thoughtful video essay. Does a good job of highlighting the, we'll say, specialness of the moment for what the streets have provided in the UK music scene, but then also the detailing of what kind of makes up the streets. But now, I just have one final question. Is the streets the black dude and Mike Skinner together? Because if so, we done totally left my brother out. I don't even know that nigga name. But if it's just Mike, then okay, that makes total sense. Now, my thoughts on the overall thing is, for me, why I find this particular artist, as far as UK artists, so interesting and somebody that I keep returning back to kind of just like sharpen the sword against it, like how are they doing this, is because from my American perspective, all the people that initially, we'll say from American artists that initially inspire UK artists are people that I've grown up on. So it's like going to the same school as somebody, but leaving with two totally different educations because of all the other supplementary, we'll say, like music and influences that they get to have when they're going to school, as you're going to school with the same kind of musical influences. So now that like I'm here, or I spend time here in the UK, or I do a lot more work in the UK music scene, I just like, well, goddamn it, how did these niggas get influenced, and like which influences were theirs, and then to see how that kind of informs or like kind of molds my current musical output and some of the things that I do in my music. I just find it so interesting that I typically, most artists, after I listen to you for a little bit, I can figure out what you do. I can damn near tell who you like to listen to from just being good at figuring that part out. But I listen to this nigga, I'll be like, don't even know. And now it makes so much more sense. I didn't know he was reading like how to write a script and like technically treating songwriting like a movie or like a script writing process, and then using all the other influences and stuff that he has to kind of develop the style. This is why it doesn't always have, we'll say, such a musical rhythmic meter when he's like rhyming. It's just because it's just saying the words that they need to, and that's what makes it kind of a little bit more special than just I rhymed this word with this rhyme. Sometimes you just need to say what you need to say in the moment and not worry about it, but then you're dealing with time instead of rhyme. And to have that control and confidence to make a lyric sing takes a lot of practice and a belief in oneself, I think. So that's why I enjoyed this particular person, or listening to the streets as much as I have, because there's somebody I just really enjoy. And then that hasn't come to this. It's just an absolute tune, like absolute banger. I love that fucking song. That said, though, that's it for me on this one. Thank you guys very much for joining me. Please do hit that like, subscribe, Patreon's in the description. If there's more of these you want me to watch and you want to watch along with me as I learn something, then just let me know in the comments. But otherwise, yeah, this was just kind of me just sharing a learning moment with everybody that likes to watch the channel with me. All right, I'm out of here, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.